What's going on, guys? Welcome to my first athlete review in live. Here, joined by Victor Plaz, infielder for the London Majors out of Ontario, Canada. This is going to be more of, let's take a dive into what was Victor's journey from experiencing arm pain, not throwing for 2 months, and coming back after doing my program and then throwing 91 miles an hour after going from 69 to 91 in just 5 weeks, right? Eliminating arm pain and just making him into the player that he is today. So without further ado, he is Victor. Victor, what's up, man? What's going on? How you feeling?
What's good, bro? What's good? I'm at la luz. ¿Qué lo que?
A little bit of Spanish up in there, but Victor, obviously, just to give people a little bit of a background, you always relied on your bat. Your arm was something that you were like, oh yeah, like I really care about this, or oh maybe this is gonna be my next step to being a much bigger player. Until this one time you experienced
hmm
pain, and after this little setback that you had, you were freaking out. You didn't really know what to do. You just thought you was gonna end up needing surgery too. I mean, obviously it's not funny, but I mean, just like you looking
I
back.
mean, it is now when you think about it. I thought I might hang up the cleats, to be honest. I thought I was
Yeah,
done.
yeah, man. So if you can just give the viewers a little background about what you thought about your throwing and stuff that you did in the past.
I mean, long story short, my whole life as a baseball player, I was always like the guy that didn't really have an arm, just like average to below average arm. I would get by, like you said, with my bat and playing defense as a whole, but just not having that great of an arm. So that was always like my setback. Never looked into it. Like you said, just relied on my bat, did what I knew how to do, and tried to focus more on what I knew how to do instead of my inefficiencies, pretty much.
No, for sure, man. What was the really set point where you were like, I think like I honestly need to do something about my arm at this point?
Bueno, last year, my first season in the IBL, I got into my head a little bit at the plate, and I carry on that to defense. So viewers, for future references, don't carry over your bat to your defense. If it's working, it's working. If it's not, it's not. Just one thing at a time, right? Break it down. Don't get into your head, because when you do, it's clipped. So coming back to the arm, got into my head, started making mistakes on defense with throws, not catching the ball as a whole, just making bad throws. Got into my off season, didn't really pay attention to my arm until I was trying to get back into the rhythm of stuff in like January, February, around that time of the year. And I'll be honest, I just ramped up my throwing pace pretty fast, too fast, and then I kind of fucked up my arm. And then I was like, if I can't throw a ball, then I can't play third base. So I kind of freaked out. And I was like, yo, my guy, que lo que? Help me out, because I'm tripping right now. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Um, that's pretty much it, honestly. Went to see a couple physios, trainers, doctors. They told me I needed to get an MRI, and I wasn't trying to pay for that because it was too expensive, and waiting lines in Canada for that were way too long. And I was like, yeah, I got to do something about this. So
yeah.
I turned to
Uh,
my homeboy.
no, of course. And if you can just tell us, so you had this injury, and I remember you were texting me about it. At the time, we never really did anything throwing wise. I know we had done the lifting program, but it was just more specifically for you. Hey, moving quickly, getting explosive, stealing bases. Because obviously, when I started, I had a whole different approach and stuff into it, and then just you just being a plain hitter. That was never really something that we spoke about, but now you made that transition. But if you can like take us through like what was that process of, well, you ramped up way too quickly, right? Because you didn't really know what you were doing. Well, at least you
hmm
thought you did. And you had this arm pain. You went to the doctors, to the physical therapist. And what was kind of like their process for you? Like what were they telling you?
They were telling me that there was pretty much nothing wrong with my arm, but I was telling them, how is there nothing wrong with my arm if whenever I throw a ball, I feel like my arm is coming off, like my elbow is coming off. And you know, baseball players, as soon as you talk about elbow pain, you think about TJ. So in my head, I was TJ. I was like, if I need TJ, I'm done playing this thing because I mean, I'm not getting paid millions to do this. You feel me? So I was like, that was pretty much what it was.
In the sense of like, what was their recovery protocols for you? Was it ice, ibuprofen?
Rest,
No.
rest, take your time, rest, rest. Then after 2 months of just resting, I was like, bro, this shit still hurts. Like, what are we doing here? And I'm being so dead ass, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's kind of ironic how these things happen where, obviously not, we all need doctors, right? They're very important,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes to getting better and increasing your performance, just rest is not simply just gonna hold everything up. And I remember, well, you texted me, I wanted you to go through your process, right? Because I wanted you to feel mentally stable with your doctors, but after you saw those 2 months and nothing was changing after following ice, rest, ibuprofen, all these protocols that obviously didn't do anything for you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you hopped straight into the program. What was what was something that really stood out to you within the program that you think helped change?
Something that stood out to me during the program that really helped change was probably when we did the assessment. And then after that, when I went to see my trainer in Montreal, uh, she's actually the trainer for the Montreal Alouettes, which is a football team in the CFL. Uh, After I showed her what had me doing for my training and my mobility and stuff, she was like, "You're on the right track. I don't know who's doing your programs, but this shit looks fire." And I was like, "Well, I got my guy." So after she sat down on top of what I was already doing with you, I kind of like put my mind at ease. I was on the right track with my arm, and yeah, that's pretty much it from the
No,
start.
and that's kind of cool how, not for nothing, but I don't have a white coat, but somehow I know all of these things. So I mean I think that's pretty awesome. I always experience that every time I get an athlete that comes into me with arm pain, I tell them, hey, this is what's going on, this was going on, and then they go to the doctor's orthopedic and they get told the same thing. But obviously the biggest difference with me, and maybe you could just tell the viewers as to like all the stuff that we did it's just the way that I attack all of these plans, right? Because when it comes to doctor and stuff, ice, ibuprofen, rest, like that, those little bands. But did you do any bands with the PT?
No, I didn't. What she did was pretty much like trigger point release with my arm, which I think helped. But obviously, like doing all the program itself helped even more because every time I had to see her, it was like an hour session. And not taking nothing from what she did help, but definitely the program like put it over the top because I was had a set stuff of what I was doing every day to get myself and get my arm right.
For
So
sure.
yeah.
And if you can just tell the viewers, like, what exactly were these things within the program that you did? If you can just, so let's say I'm for that kid watching at home that doesn't know anything about
Hmm.
my program, like, what exactly was the routine for you, and what's everything that you had within it?
Well, pretty much, Anthony is gonna give you pretty specific plan based on your inefficiency and what you're trying to do for yourself, right? In this case, we were attacking my arm, and the important thing was getting my arm healthy for my season, which was literally like 2.5 months away. And that's one of the reasons why I was freaking out. So pretty much get into details about what's the problem, where's the pain at, where is it coming from, and attacking those muscles around it to get that area stronger with different drills, exercises, plyos, everything in the works of getting the arm right because that was my issue, right? So that's pretty much it.
I think it's even so crazy how you didn't, well, you had this pain, you didn't throw for 2 months, and then
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden we assessed you, and your season is ironically 2 months away, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
normally what happens is the time that you take off is the time that you need to get back on. So meaning if you took 2 months off, that means you need 2 more months to start throwing lightly And then after those 2 more months, then you start to really ramp up, right? So
Yeah,
ideally, to really play it safe, we would have needed like 3 to 4 months.
yeah.
An ideal scenario to really feel everything. Um, and obviously, in your case, you've never done any drills at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Nope.
anything, you're just the type of guy you just roll onto the field and just, hey, let's have a catch, and that's
Let's
it.
go. Let's throw position player style. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah. And then only just your first plan was only throwing 3 times a week,
Yeah.
and you just had your drills, and I was just like, yo, throw to comfort, like just listen to your body.
Mm-hmm.
It took me like 5 weeks, like you're already throwing 91. Which is pretty ridiculous. And obviously, if you could just elaborate more what your experience was from like not doing anything throwing to now doing these drills, like how did these drills like, because I remember I had this one drill with the Mepos spinal
Mm-hmm.
stuff that you were like, yo,
Yeah.
this drill really makes sense. If you could just
Yeah.
tell the viewers more about that.
So with the drills, what Anthony did for me was I kind of learned keep in mind, I'm me myself being a hitting coach myself, the learning curve might have been a little bit faster than another person or like a kid at home. But for hitting personally and for defense, I like knowing how my body moves, and I feel like I didn't feel that. Uh, I never felt that when I was throwing. So doing all these drills, click specifically with that med ball drill, of how my body is supposed to move as I'm making my throws. Once I understood that, and I saw how every drill um, made sense and incorporated to like how my game to game play is. Matter of fact, I sent you a video today about a play that I made. That was literally a drill like that we were doing with a med ball, and that shit was fire, bro. I was like, oh shit. And it just came out naturally because it's like you train how you play basically. It's sport specific, which is what makes it even more fire. So once I understood how my body was supposed to work, it was a wrap. It was clipped, it was done. I knew exactly what I needed to do. Everything made more sense. I could feel more the intent. I started feeling where I was leaking, where I wasn't. And even now, I'm still doing it, the drills and everything. And even in my day to day, just taking ground balls out third in between innings and throwing them first, I can feel when I'm releasing wrong and what went wrong with my throw. So that also me having struggled throwing to first base with last year with that, me having that feedback instantly now is really reassuring and obviously a confidence boost because you know exactly what you did wrong. It's not like, oh shit, I threw the ball wrong. I'm scared. Like I don't want to do it again. It's, no, like I did this. I got to do it like this and it's going to be right. So that definitely like helped a lot. So as soon as I figured that out, it was a wrap.
That's big. And obviously you were different, a little different scenario too, just because your hitting's already good. Like you literally dive down on hitting, you do everything that you can, everything that you know, and you're very one with your hitting. And I think that's a key of what you just spoke about, that your throw was just off. Like you never even knew what throwing hard was like,
Yeah,
right?
never.
So but
Now I can feel it.
yeah, yeah, now you can feel it, and I think it's just so cool from even like obviously I know the results that I'm gonna give you guys and that you guys are gonna get, but just seeing it happen is like to my mind, I'm like, damn, like
No,
this
that
thing really
impressed me.
happened.
That impressed me, and that impressed a lot of the pro guys that are training with me at the facility. Just to name a few, Anthony Kirion that plays with Capital de Quebec from the Frontier League, and Francisco Hernandez Jr., aka Pampito. Those were the guys that I was training with. His little brother too, Hernandez, Brandon. He, all three of those guys are guys that I train with 24/7 back home in the off season, and all those guys know. Oh, Victor doesn't throw hard. When those guys were seeing me pull down 91, 90, 89, 92, I did, bro, what are you doing?
No, dude, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. Obviously, like even um from those guys that have known you your whole entire life, like you said, Victor doesn't throw hard, but dude, that's awesome. And obviously, like even mentioning Canada, so have you? because we never saw each other like in person at all. Like this was literally virtual, just like this. I
Mm-hmm.
would send you the program, you do stuff, you send me back videos. I'll evaluate them and stuff, and then just give you the feedback back, and then you just make the adjustment. So, did you ever have like any ifs for remote training? You could just be completely honest. Like, were you like, how the hell is that gonna work? Like, is my game
Um,
gonna get better like over the phone?
I never really had any issues with remote training, honestly, personally. And like we mentioned when we first started training, it was more like working out wise. I've always liked, even through college, and you know this because we were fucking roommates in college. I've
Yeah,
always
yeah.
liked to, I've always liked to, like know what I'm doing and do it myself instead of having like a coach like in college that has a preset plan for everybody to follow. No, no, because I feel like that's not how you grow. Every person has to have their own plan, individualized for their needs. Because my needs aren't your needs, like my weaknesses aren't yours, or the next guy or the other guy. So I was always prone and easygoing with the remote. So whenever we just switched it from like the lifting to the mobility to the throwing, I didn't see no issue with it.
Okay, no, awesome, awesome. And even as far onto that, I think it was so cool because you were based in Canada, right? I'm in the US.
Hmm.
But on top of that, you went to a whole nother continent. You went
I
to
did.
Spain,
I
France,
did.
and you still got you working on a whole nother different time zone
Hmm.
while still having a complete plan to follow. Like you didn't need to wait to go back to Canada to continue your
No.
training. Like you were literally out there, you found a wall, you had everything specifically for that. Hey, I'm gonna have this type of gym, whatever, boom, boom. I made the corrections. Okay, boom, let's bounce. This is what you're gonna do, this is what you're gonna have. So
Yep.
I thought that was pretty crazy because like obviously
Yeah.
me in the US and you out there, that's
Didn't miss a day of training. Prepared myself because I knew that if I was gonna be out there for 11 days, I can just slack off, right? So I did what I had to do to uh, ensure that I was right. Like you feel me? So, and I feel like that's something that people lack a lot. You gotta keep training even when you're on vacation, especially if you want to play sports, right? So yeah, I did what I had to do, and yeah, it worked out fine. Even better because then we had 6 hours time difference too. So when I was finishing training, it was 6 a.m. for you.
oh, dude, that's awesome, man. If we can just wrap this up with how are you now feeling in season? You're playing third base. You haven't had a throwing error. Last year, you had some throwing errors where everything was just a little bit out of whack. If you can just speak about how confident do you feel? Like you probably love throwing right now, and I don't even think you could have ever said that in your life. So, I mean, if you could just like speak on into that as well.
No, bro. Like, my confidence is through the roof right now. Throwing wise, I feel like I'm that guy. Like I mentioned before, I never had an issue fielding the ball. My issue my whole life was always like just throwing wise. And as a little kid, I used to catch too, and my issue was the arm. Uh, so now I'm just throwing from every single angle, just everything right here in the chest. So I mean, I feel on top of the world at third base right now, which is good. You can't let it get to your head, but I mean, just knowing how your body works gives you that confidence boost of if you fail, then you know exactly what you did and you know how to correct it and not do it again. So, which is what stress people out when they make an error, I feel like, because they don't know what they did, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So for those guys looking onto the fences and that don't really know or are asking themselves, hey, should I go train with Versatile Athletics or is throwing really what I need or should I wait a little longer? What do you have to say to those people?
all I gotta say to those guys is just stop the guessing game, bro. Just do it. Anthony knows what he's doing. He's trusted by pro athletes like myself and other guys. And in my case, it just gives you an extra tool. It makes you even better as a player. It
Yeah.
makes you a more complete player. So do what you got to do. Stop the guessing game. Anthony will get you right.
Good, 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 man. And obviously, guys, just Victor Plaz, he is an infielder. Obviously, I'm normally known for training pitchers, but when it comes to the throwing, and just body movements specifically, I train in a wide variety of different
Mm-hmm.
athletes. But there you guys have it, Victor Plaz, from not really having an arm as a tool, not being known as the guy that threw hard, experiencing arm pain, having off target throws, to now being the man. He's the man at third, and ain't nobody moving him there. So now obviously he has a tool, no pain, beast of an arm, right? Something he's never had, and now it's an even a bigger tool for his stock market as a player. So Victor, thank you for joining me today.
No,
It's
thank you, bro. Thank
been,
you, bro. Appreciate it.
yes, sir. It's definitely been a lot of fun training you with it for these past 2 to 3 months. Well, when it comes to throwing, and dude, I think your change has been great, and I definitely can't wait for you to see you throw 95.
Yes,
So
sir. We'll do.
across
We'll
the
do.
time.
We'll do. We'll do. We'll do. We'll do.
So
I'm for the viewers, I'll train the arm maybe in the off season. And I'll hit 95. Make a little shout out to Versatile Athletics, you feel me? Make a little video
you could
about
do it
it.
in season.
I could probably do it in season,
You just
honestly.
need a gun because obviously you don't really have.
I don't have a gun right now, that's the issue.
But all right, thank you, Victor, again. Let's keep kicking ass. Let's keep
Yes,
proving
sir.
people wrong. Let's keep rolling out forward, man. Thank you for joining me
Yes,
today.
sir. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
All right, I see you.